we zijn hier nog steeds op de vernissage en ik heb de eer om de fotograaf Edward Burtynsky te ontmoeten. En hij maakt tijd voor ons om enkele vragen te stellen. Welcome in Krakow, Edward. So tell me, this is a huge expo. What was your inspiration?
Well, I was interested in water as a source of all life on the planet. It's the key thing to why you and I can be here having a conversation. That without water and the division of cells over the last 3.5 billion years, life couldn't be what it is today on the planet. So I wanted to kind of have a way to talk about it through pictures. So I went to look at water where we don't take care of it, distressed situations because of water, where we use water like in agriculture and industry, how we contain and control water through dams, and also the idea that water is this beautiful element that cleanses itself. So we can have a polluted lake, and over time it would evaporate and that water would become clean again, and then it would be snow or rain, and so it is this beautiful, element on the planet that constantly renews itself. So it is a very life-affirming subject. So.
It is a bit of situation. We see the nature is stressed. There are problems. There's too many rain. There's not enough water. Do you hope with this exposition that you will open the eyes of some people that have the power to change something?
Yeah, well, all my work for 40 years has been trying to show to the world how we as humans are affecting nature and how we take from nature and build onto what used to be nature. So our cities used to be prairies or used to be a forest or whatever, and we take over that space and do something that we need for our own survival. But with 8 billion people and growing, that balance is tipping. So I think my work speaks to that change of balance, and that now, we are in a situation where if we are not careful, we can see ourselves, the next generations, being in serious trouble with not too much water, too much water, or other kinds of crises, storms and the rising seas.
Because you saw it, you say 40 years of experience, you look at nature in a very specific way that we don't look. How fast is the evolution in the 40 years? Did you see it changing?
Well, yeah, and it's just like exponentially. It's like this hockey stick growth of problems, and now we can see. I think there isn't anywhere in the world you don't go today where people aren't talking about the weather. Sure. That it's too dry or it's too wet, or the fires are like in Canada alone. Yeah. Last year we had 10 times more fire than the year before in our forests. So, and that's all adding to the heat too. So it's a real problem. So I'm seeing changes happening rapidly, and we weren't supposed to see, 1.5, and that was supposed to be our outer edge degrees for another 10 years. This year was 1.5. Yeah. So it's very worrying. Yeah, and so I think it's now a time, and it's really understandable that people get distracted, whether it's the economy or whether the wars that are now causing a lot of problems, and we get our attention drawn to that, or politics and what's happening there. But the one that I think we need to always pay attention to is what's happening to our habitat, because if we can't live here, all those other things are no longer a problem.
Exactly. True. Then it fixes itself, no? But we're going to stay positive, even though it's not all positive. It is a beautiful exposition. How many pictures do you have here?
There are 54 images and 2 murals, and it's a show that came with a book and a movie called Watermark. So, and since this project, I've gone on to do some other projects, but this project followed another one I did, which was on oil. And when I was looking at oil, I kind of imagined oil like the energy, like the blood in our veins. It gives us the ability to be mobile and to live and to have our energy to move. And I saw oil, and it's hidden. We don't see, our blood or anything. And if it is, there's a problem. Same with oil. If you see it, it's a problem. But it's sitting there, sitting beneath our vision. But it's kind of powering everything. So then I finished that project, and then I thought, but the true thing that gives us life is water. So.
Yeah, if you think about it, there's water everywhere. Without water, there's nothing, eh?
Yeah, no, there's no life. No water.
No life, no. So, how many years it took before this expo was ready or finished?
Yeah, so the project took about 5 years, and most of my projects take around 5 years. Some take longer. The oil project, I worked over 10 years, and so, but I just work with different things all the time, So as I'm thinking through and looking for locations and getting myself there and getting permissions and all the technology involved, because photography involves a lot of technology.
Yeah, I imagine. So 5 years, how many countries are here pictured?
In this show, I think it's like 12 countries that I've been to and depicted in this show. So I do travel a lot to photograph because I'm trying to go to the place in the world that describes the idea. Like, for instance, there's one series that I did that I was looking for where water is distressed. So, I went to where the BP oil spill happened, and I looked at that. Or I went to where all the water was drained from the Owens Lake when Los Angeles was growing, and they redirected the Owens River, and then I went to that place to show that dry lake. So I go to the places that I think really have a strong story to tell.
What is your most favorite picture in this exposition, if you can choose one? Pick one.
Well, there's one that's very different that I'm quite proud of, and it's a picture I took in Varanasi, where the ritual of in the Ganges River, where the families take their deceased loved one and dunk them in the river, and then they cremate them right there. And so there's an image of that. But if you spend time with that image, it's a whole theater set in one. There's so many things going on in that picture that I have it at my home because I never get bored with it. I can always find new things. There's new things to find in it. So it's one of the it's almost like a movie in a picture.
Oh, I want to see it. Last question. You're now here in Belgium with this expo. Are you going to travel around the world with this expo?
Well, this expo has been traveling around the world. So this has now been traveling for 10 years. Yeah, so I now have other exhibitions that have been traveling. I'm doing one that I did on Africa. So I went to 11 countries in Africa, and I did a book on Africa, and I now also have other exhibitions that travel around. But this one's been traveling. This is its 9th location at this particular show.
Nice. And what are the reactions of the public when they see those pictures?
Well, I mean, my work has a broad appeal, and people, I think, really enjoy the work because what happens is that what I try to do is not only give the work a kind of an aesthetic, and I call it the form, that I look at the color and the texture and the composition and all of that and the sharpness of it are all considered very, very carefully. And then on the other side, what the subject is, the kind of more journalistic side of it. What's the story? What's the narrative? Yeah. So I want them both to be right and present. So I think people enjoy that because it isn't so difficult to understand sometimes, because a lot of contemporary art can be difficult. So it's very accessible. And it tells a very important story about what's happening to the world and to.
And it considers everybody. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Enjoy Belgium.
I will.
And we will enjoy your exposition. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.